This is the new 2025 Ram 1500 RHO. It is a full-size off-road sport truck that's ready for action. But can it conquer our mountain test course? We're going to find out right now on Driving Sports TV. This episode of Driving Sports TV is brought to you by Onyx Off-Road. Click the link below to save 20% off your new membership using the code DSTV. This is the new 2025 Ram 1500 RHO. The RHO unofficially stands for Ram High Output, and that is referring to the motor that's under the hood. This is a 3-liter Hurricane Straight 6 with twin turbochargers. It's rated at 540 peak horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque. The standard transmission is an 8-speed automatic with, of course, a dual-range transfer case. Of course, to make this a proper off-road sport truck, it needs to have all the goodies, and this thing is properly equipped. It comes standard with recovery points, advanced off-road suspension, extensive underbody protection, all-terrain tires, and of course, a rear locker. Let's talk about those tires. What we have here are 35-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory all-terrains, wrapped around 18-inch wheels in a 325/65 R18 fitment. In the back, rear coil springs provide up to 14 inches of travel. All 4 corners are equipped with Bilstein Blackhawk E2 shocks with remote reservoirs and 3-stage jounce control. In the back is a Dana 60 full floater. Price as you see it here with a number of options including panorama roof, massage seats, and stickers. You're looking at $87,507 US including destination. So the plan, of course, is to get this on all of our trails, play with some of the off-road tools, and then we're going to see if this can conquer our most difficult trail, the Anaconda. Let's do it. Okay, it is a hot and windy day here at the mountain test course. Hopefully the drone doesn't fly away. Ram RHO 1500. This is a big truck. In fact, it is the largest truck that we've taken out on the mountain test course this year. Now we have brought the Raptor R out here, but we didn't have the Anaconda. I don't think we even had the ladder when that was out here. In fact, it actually got stranded because it was so muddy on that day. Well, today the conditions are dry, they're hot, and they're super windy. So let's set up the vehicle here. I do know that most of our courses are going to require 4 low, so let's go ahead and switch into that mode. 4 low. Now it is push button. You just hold the button down while you're in neutral, and it switches. Go to drive, and we are now equipped. This vehicle does have a rear electronically activated locker, which we will use when we need it, and it also has a crawl control, which they call select speed. Now, there is no 2-wheel drive mode in this vehicle. You either get your 4-wheel drive auto, which uses a clutch to transfer power, or you get your 4-wheel drive high, which locks that transfer case, or 4 low. We are in 4 low. Brought up the vehicle dynamics page here, which lets me toggle between tilt and drivetrain setup, and we're just gonna do this. This is, of course, rolling on 35-inch tires, so it has plenty of ground clearance. You're looking at over 11 inches. And I think we might use all of that today. I don't know, we'll see. My biggest concern is, of course, will this big honker fit on our trails? I honestly don't know, and the Anaconda is going to be a serious issue. Now, a lot of these trails that we have here are designed to look like the trails that you would find here in the Cascade Mountains. So these are not unusual trails. They're not unusually small. In fact, they're pretty normal sized. Of course, we're not going to bump there. That's fine. Now let's talk about the shocks, because we're on the Rattler here, and this gives us a good opportunity to make some adjustments. These are adaptive shocks. They will actually change the damping and rebound force depending on the setting that we're in. And there's multiple drive modes here. We got a lot of them. We got custom, mud, sand, rock, Baja, sport, tow, and snow. These drive modes not only change the steering feel and the throttle, they also change the suspension setup as well as how your powertrain is configured. We're obviously in 4 low now. If I went to Baja, it would switch it to 4 high, which I don't want to do. So let's go ahead and do the, actually we'll bring them up here in the center console here where it's Nice to see. Come on, are you gonna... This center console is buggy. It sometimes doesn't respond to button pushes, and sometimes it lags. Don't love it. It does provide some deep functionality, which I can appreciate, such as the drive modes page. Once it comes up, I can look at how everything is adjusted. So let's go to rock here. And what that's going to do is it does the transmission in rock mode. Paddle shifters are on, stability control is off, the suspension is in the softest setting, which is Baja, and the steering is also going to give us the slowest speed, which is rock mode. So let's do it. Now we're going to scoot a little quicker than normal here because RHO. Now the suspension is doing actually a really good job of soaking up a really rough road, and we're just going to climb all the way up. And we're going to take the hard line on the inside, and come on, you got this. Boom. You see how today's going to go? We're doing everything, but it's going to be a little quicker because this rig is up for it. So let's do it, right? Oh, there is a camera here. Let's turn on the camera. Let's go to vehicle, camera, favorite vehicle camera. Just give me a button for camera, man. Okay, there we go. And we even get wheel tracks straight from the Jeep guys. Because of course, you know, they're all in the Stellantis family. Okay, let's line this back up. Man, come on. There's got to be an easier way to deal with the camera here instead of digging into the menus every single time and clicking twice. Can we fit? There we go. Okay, now we're going to head down to the Sidewinder, which is a little bit more complicated, and we're going to look at articulation. Now, this truck has a lot of articulation. The way they've redesigned the rear suspension, it has, I think, like 14 inches of stroke back there. I don't know what it is on the front, but it's probably a lot. Okay, coming up on this little right there. Very often we rub the little airfoils on the front of these things. And the one thing I do have to look for is this does have a really long wheelbase, so it's actually going to hit a little different than some of the other vehicles that we bring out here. Okay, so I'm in rock mode still. I'm in 4 low. I'm not going to turn on my locker because I want to see what kind of traction control systems kick in when a wheel presumably lifts and we lose traction. Okay, so we're just going to go over these 2 holes. First one now. Let's see how good these reach down. Typically the front wheel is not a huge issue. This is usually where we get a little bit of swing. And I'm seeing on the chart here that I'm on maximum articulation. Okay, traction control kicks in, keeps us moving. Nice. I'm going to worry about doing that with a locker. I think we all know how that works. Oh, now thankfully this has a lot of underbody protection, so the fuel tank is safe from that big hit we just took. Right, wheelbase. Careful of that wheelbase. So now we're just going to crawl up the Sidewinder. Now we could just gun it up. We have another road we're going to do that with. This one, I really just want to see how the traction systems respond, so I am just walking up it. No problem. I mean, come on, 35-inch all-terrains on a day like today? Yeah, it'll do fine. It is tight, though. Oh, man. Okay. Here we go, all the way to the top. Yes. Easy, easy, easy. I just feel like these early ones are just kind of a formality at this point, but we are going to have some fun now. It just feels like this truck wants to go fast, so let's go ahead and let it do that. I'm going to go ahead and switch into 4 high. I have to switch into neutral for that. Actually, you know what? Let's switch it into Baja mode. So that not only will adjust the shocks, let's see, it'll also adjust the way throttle is held. It'll keep it up in that peak power zone, so you're going to listen for the revs basically staying higher. Let's see, rock Baja, there we go. Huh. Does 4-wheel drive auto. Okay, well, we'll just do the 4-wheel drive auto then, because that's what the truck wants. Let's do it. So it's interesting, it gives me oil pressure and tire PSI as my two main gauges once I'm in Baja mode, which, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Let's see if we can make this. Oh, big boy makes the corner. Actually, not a bad turning radius, all things considered, right? So on tight trails like this at speed, the biggest thing you got to look for is bump. You can get bumped the wrong direction. Hopefully the suspension here will soak stuff up and not want to steer the vehicle based on terrain. Now we do have a deep hole hiding in the grasses here. Oh yeah, that's a very deep hole for drainage. We need it for drainage. Okay, gonna line up. Whoa, barely fit on the road there. Okay, all set up. Let's send it, and let's use paddles. Start in gear 1, and let's go. Corner again. Oh, this thing is so big. Whoop, found the curb. Oh my God, it's so big and so fast, I just have to be careful with it. Whoa, launch! Oh man, that was kind of insane. Do not try this at home, kids, or if you do, just be ready for the consequences. Oh, let's see what that bump looks like. I didn't feel it in the chassis, I just felt it in the tires, so we're probably fine. Oh yeah, no problem at all. We just bumped this soft edge. Wow, that was equal parts terrifying and fun. So far this RHO is slicing through everything like butter with a hot knife. So let's see how it does with this one. This is the ladder. This is a very steep, loose climb. For this, I'm gonna go ahead and switch the drive mode. What are we gonna do? Let's do mud sand. No, we actually want minimal wheel spin, so let's do rock. And that will require that we go into 4 low. And the reason, some conditions, especially loose ones, you want to have wheel spin, but when you're on a steep incline with boulders, you don't necessarily want wheel spin unless you have to use it, because all-terrain tires will pick up those rocks and just kick them into the body of the vehicle. If we can minimize that, it's a better situation. Okay, so we're in 4 low. Make sure that we're in rock mode here. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay, we're in rock mode. Oh, it says rock down bottom right. And let's do this. Let's get this front camera on. Let's do it. And I'm going to try to follow the ruts here. We have tons of ground clearance here. And I'm just going to try to go slow. Slow will definitely put the traction control systems to the test. If we need to use a locker, we can. Right now, it is just traction systems. In fact, for this one, I'm going to introduce a new part of the test. We kind of sometimes do it just naturally, but I'm going to put my wheel into this hole, and I'm going to stop the vehicle. And from now on, all future tests, we're going to start here from 0. So I'm completely stopped. We do have rollback. Let's add a little throttle. 2-pedal throttle there. How does it do? Yeah, like it's no problem. No problem. Super easy. Right, it's big, it's got big tires, it has lots of traction. It just doesn't care. Now we have a really steep climb. This is actually a little steeper than that last one, but it's also a little bit more compact. And we're gonna just keep on rolling up. Oh, how steep is this right here, actually? Let's stop it. 26 degrees right here. Pretty steep. And we got this, no problem. Cool. Well, now we're going to take this down Python Pass, but to go down, I got to turn this beast around. It's detecting all the brush that we've had grow up here. So this is kind of a thing with this. Even in 4 low, do you see that twitch that just happened? That's like the turbos kick in, and it just thrusts me forward. I get that a lot with this vehicle, and I don't like it. So I have, granted, have to be more careful with my throttle pedal, but it seems easier on this vehicle than it is others to get that kind of really harsh twitch. Yeah, like right there. Just add a little bit more throttle, and you're like, boom! Don't need that. So if we're going down the hill here, I am going to try the select speed system, which acts as either a crawl control or a hill descent control. So I'm in drive, I'm going to hit the button down there, select speed, slot that over to the plus minus, and this lets us start at 0.6 miles per hour. Again, I'm going to pull up that front camera. This is kind of ridiculous. Oh, I can star that, and then it'll always pop up on my favorites. That seems like unnecessary work. Oh, how do I turn off these parking sensors? I probably have to dive into the menu again for that, right? Yeah, I don't see anything on the screen there. We're just going to do it. We're just going to live with the beeps. So this is very similar to Toyota's crawl control system, but there is one significant difference. Toyota's crawl control you can use in reverse. This one you cannot. So I switch it in reverse and it still says 0.6, select speed on, and I'm getting nothing. Add throttle, and there we go. Back into drive, and is select speed still active? It appears to be. So with select speed, it's not only using throttle, it's also using brakes to keep the vehicle tracking in the direction that I'm pointing with the steering wheel. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. And I can, of course, increase the speed. Man, all that brush. We definitely need to tidy this line up. Turn in early because we need all that nose room for the big boy here. Now, I'm not too worried about brushing the nose of this on the branches that are growing up here because this one actually has a steel front bumper, which is really nice. I know I'm not going to damage it. So many vehicles these days, not only do they put plastic up front, they also put these just awful gloss black. Like, why do you do that? This one, steel, matte black, just like it should be. So we turn there, see if we can make this last one. And I'm going to continue down. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We're going to fit? I think we're going to fit. Oh man, that was tough. And so many beeps. Yes, I know there's shrubbery around me. Calm down. And down we go. So, I mean, that obviously worked, but it also kind of underlines the challenge of driving something this big on forest roads. Especially when there's growth in from the sides. It's just really difficult to kind of maneuver one of these things. Right, well, let's see if this thing can conquer the Anaconda. I expect it will. I think the real question is how fast can we conquer the Anaconda? Let's just be realistic, okay? I am going to actually still play with some things because I feel this has plenty of capability. Normally, we lock our rear diffs or anything that's lockable before doing this entry climb. But I'm actually going to just leave it up to traction control because I want to see how good of a job it can do. So we're in drive, we're in rock mode, which should limit the amount of wheel spin before the brakes kick in. And let's just see what it does. That's wheel brakes, because if a wheel spins, it needs to apply brake to shift power to the other side. Yeah, that's how that works. And of course, we're in 4 low, so it's splitting power effectively 50-50. So I'm just going to try to go as slow as possible, as fast as necessary. Is traction control doing it, or are we... I think we're just sitting here. We're just sitting here. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that rear locker. Oh, there we go. Yep, digging holes. So the tricky thing here is that these tires actually get onto the rocks, and then it becomes pretty slippery. So we're going to do drive. I'm going to go ahead and lock the rear axle, which happens pretty quickly. I'm going to add a little momentum too, because big boy. Oh yeah, up we go. Use that body armor. I mean, to be fair, that's how you attack a hill with an RHO. Got this little brake here. Let's see. Gonna rub that center section. No, that's good. And now we're just gonna continue on and set up for the midsection. So what we saw down there was that the traction control systems are good, but they're not good enough to do all of the work in challenging conditions. We saw definitely better traction control out of the Toyota 4Runner, as well as actually the Nissan Armada did a pretty bang-up job there as well, especially considering the Armada had really bad tires. I mean, compared to these ones. So this section right here has several ditches in the middle of it, hard to see from outside, but once I start going into them, you'll know they're there. Clearances are going to be an issue. As big and as long of a wheelbase as this has, the over 11 inches of ground clearance, 35-inch tires, may not be enough. Let's see. And trucks always have a problem with this first ditch. Now we are still in 4 low, and I still have, yeah, we just hit. It's just a rock. Should be fine. I think we're lifting in the back now. Oof. Well, that's the whole underside dragging. Okay. Sorry, Ram. It was worth it, though. Okay. Listen for the tailgate scraping. Yeah, the hitch. Hitches always hit there. Okay, this is actually one of the hardest sections of the course now. We're going into a ditch on the driver's side, but we haven't quite lifted yet in the back. So I expect that we will probably hit the skid board. And this is not a rock rail, this is just a step. So we don't want to rip it off. The difference being that a step, yep, we're hitting that. Well, the difference being that a step is attached to the body and a rock rail is attached to the frame. If it's attached to the frame and it's built for purpose, then usually it's fine. We're gonna have to go a little wide here, which is always a little harrowing because it's literally putting my wheel on the edge of a cliff to try to bypass that dip to get that back up. And there we go. But the tail will still go in the hole, as will the front wheel. Boy. And we got another dip here. This time we got a rock to climb over. So this is why you don't go fast. If we went fast there, we would have left our step back there. Okay, now we're going to go up over the rock, and on the camera here we can see we can place our wheel directly where we want it. I think we hit the nose there a little bit. Oh, there goes our tail dragging again. Yep, full-size clearance issues. It's a thing. Okay, let's flip this up, and we'll see if we get all the way to the top. Can I even turn this thing around? It is so big. And it's not unusually big for the class. Granted, it's just for trails. Smaller things are generally better for this reason. That's a cliff behind me, no big deal. Don't want that surge here, so I'm being very delicate with my throttle pedal. Turn around. Oh, I should have turned off my rear locker at this point, but too late now, I'm almost set. Okay, we gotta get this lined up though. We can't go up it yet. So we're not quite there yet. 5 weeks later. There, okay, I think we're finally set up for this. Woo! So I got the camera up here, and it is really nice once it's actually on the screen. This section of the course is the narrowest. I am actually very concerned about my width here. I want to put a wheel directly on that rock. Let's see if we can without hanging out over the edge. Yeah. I know you're looking at it on the outside going, oh, he's got feet. But the reality is when you're sitting in here, like 4 feet off the ground, it becomes a little bit more harrowing. Okay, we're good there. Oh yeah, that just walked up. You know, with that rear locker engaged, just not a problem. This one, I actually have to kind of cut to the right a little bit because we have the shrub on the inside. And that is potentially problematic. So I'm going to put a wheel off on the right. This is usually where a front locker is actually really good to have because we're going to lose traction on the outside there, and now it's relying on pushing up in the back. Oh, we did high center there. I honestly thought we would. But no, here we go. Oh, we just got one more climb to the top. Come on, we got this. Ooh, we hit a rock and out. Ah. Well, what did we learn today? Yes, this is big, and it has tons of ground clearance, and it has 35-inch tires, but here's the thing. Even with all of those things going for it, this still has an approach angle of 31 degrees and a breakover of 21. That is far worse than the Land Cruiser, 4Runner, and obviously any of the Jeep Wranglers, or anything else that is really designed for off-road. So you see these things, you see the ground clearance, but the reality is that they just really aren't designed for these type of trails. Now, Baja running, yeah, this thing would be awesome. I actually did take this down to Johnson Valley, where we just booked it down the roads. The suspension was amazing at high speeds. The whole vehicle is frankly amazing at high speeds, and I think that's really where a truck like this wants to live. It is a desert runner. Can you do mountain trails like this? Of course you can. And it kind of works, but it's not ideal. It's too big. The approach, departure, and breakover aren't quite good enough. And of course, from the factory, you have side steps, which you got to be careful of. So, but overall, I still really like the Ram RHO, even with the ridiculous interior. The motor is fantastic. The whole thing is fantastic. The suspension is great. Traction control, it's good. I wouldn't call it great. What do you think? Is the RHO the truck to get if you're looking for a full-size sport truck, or would you get a Raptor or a ZR2 Bison? Post a comment below. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share videos. We make them for you. Hope you enjoy them. I know I had a great time today in the RHO.